As I stood there, my heart throbbed with a searing pain I had not experienced before. An empty suburban road stretched before me, its asphalt reflecting the pale glare of the afternoon sun. The cul-de-sac was lined with picket fences and well-manicured lawns, American dream homes basking in the tranquility of an ordinary day. But there was nothing ordinary about this day for me. "Danny, you can't mean this. We're family," I said, my voice perilously close to breaking as I looked at my nephew. My nephew, my brother's son, the same lovable kid who used to beg me to tell him bedtime stories, now stood before me as a man. A man who had just plunged a dagger into my heart. Dagger of betrayal. The very sight of him siding with the Robertsons, our Archrival family, turned my blood into ice water. Our families had been feuding for decades, fueled by a mysterious inheritance dispute that neither the passage of time nor the laws of the land could resolve. "I am sorry, Uncle, but this is what's best for me," Danny replied, holding my gaze with a determination I didn't know he possessed. His words were a slap, reverberating through the silence that had fallen over the street. Even as his words hung in the air, a frosty realization solidified in my guts. Danny had chosen them over us, over our blood, our lineage. He had turned his back on us, causing a fissure within our family so deep that I felt it might never mend. His betrayal felt like a vice around my heart, squeezing tighter. It wasn't just about the feud, though. It was the hurt of witnessing a young man I loved like a son, turning his back on us, on his own roots, all because of the Robertsons' silver-tongued promises and glitzy glamour. "My own flesh and blood," I muttered, my voice hollowed out, a mere whisper against the chilling wind that funneled down the open road. Danny's expression twitched, but he remained silent, the Robertson clan smirking triumphantly at his back. He'd chosen his side. But as I stood there, surrounded by the echoes of our family's shattered unity, a fire sparked within me. It flared up, fueled by anger, yes, but also resolve. If he was willing to betray us so easily, willing to cast his lot with those who would see us humiliated and defeated, then there had to be more to it, and I was determined to expose the truth. I would uncover Danny's deep, dark secret, even if it shattered the world I knew completely. And so, amidst the ruins of camaraderie and family loyalty, my journey began. A journey that would unravel secrets and expose a side of my nephew I thought I'd never see. A journey that would forever change our family and its dynamics. This was just the beginning, and I knew nothing would ever be the same again. It's funny how the mind works, how it clings to memories, both good and bad, like a film reel. It plays them, each frame painted in shades of emotions, the joy, the hurt, all pulsating vividly. The family that I was born into was one of bliss and shared dreams, a quilt woven with the threads of love and kinship. Sunday cookouts, Christmas dinners, summer vacations. We were close-knit, each of us knowing the other profoundly. We dreamed the same dreams, and when we faltered, we held each other up like cradles of support. Our bond was stronger than just by mere blood. It was a bond solidified by shared laughter, shared memories, and shared aspirations. Then they came, the Cunninghams, like a chilling gust of wind that disrupts the serene summer. They were not evil. No, they were just different. Their values skewed, their morals warped, cloaked under the guise of modernity. Our rivalry with them wasn't born out of business, but from a difference of life principles. We, the Wilsons, believed in honesty and hard work. They, on the other hand, played by their own twisted rules, where ends justified the means. How I wish, my dear Kevin, my own flesh and blood, the child I saw grow up, had not been enticed by their toxic allure. His betrayal stung like a rogue wasp on a peaceful summer day. His choosing to side with the Cunninghams felt like a well-aimed arrow, piercing the tranquility of our family harmony. "Why, Kevin?" I'd asked, my voice choking with disappointment and disbelief. His lifeless eyes stared back, devoid of any regret or guilt. "They offer opportunities, Uncle," he'd replied nonchalantly, his voice devoid of the warmth it used to carry. Opportunities. The word echoed in my mind like a damning verdict. That night, as the moon blanketed the world with an eerie calm, a decision bloomed within me. I had to uncover Kevin's secret, the nucleus of this drastic transformation. I had to rescue him from the Viper's den, not just for his sake, but for our families. Little did I know, this decision would turn the dynamics of our family life on its head. The feeling of impending confrontation hung heavily in the air, a cruel, suspenseful anticipation that gripped our hearts. The journey to unmask the traitor within our ranks was about to begin. Obliviously on that night, I picked up the threads of an unraveling tale, ready to weave it into a tapestry of revelations, unaware of the dramatic transformation that awaited our family. Ever since I was a young man, I learned one thing: trust falls short where betrayal takes root. I learned it the hardest way possible. From my own flesh and blood, my nephew. It was a day much like any other, sunny and alive with the promise of potential. I was in my study, scrolling through financial reports and sales records for our family business. The smell of old pages and the whiff of coffee in the air. It was the perfect picture of serene focus. Suddenly, the tranquility was shattered by a thunderous boom as the door flung open. "Uncle," a familiar voice cried out. It was Tommy, my brother's son, eyes wide with a cross between fear and excitement. "I've chosen a side," he blurted out. "I'm standing with the Harrisons." The room spun. The Harrisons were our long-standing rivals. Our businesses butted heads at every turn. To hear Tommy, my own kin, say he was joining them was akin to a bucket of ice-cold betrayal dumped over my head. I felt a knot tighten in my stomach, my heart pounding like a war drum in my chest. "Tommy," I stammered, Are you serious?" I couldn't wrap my mind around the betrayal. "Yes," he replied, his face hard, his eyes unblinking. I felt a surge of anger, hot and blinding. The same little boy who used to run around our house, laughing, playing, was standing before me, the architect of my greatest trepidation. But beneath the rage, I felt a hollow ache, a sense of loss that gnawed at my soul. As Tommy exited the study, leaving me in my world of turmoil and disbelief, I was left grappling with a promise I made to myself. I was going to unearth his motivations. I was going to navigate this labyrinth of betrayal and uncover the why that was tormenting me. In the days that followed, I hardly slept. I was digging, searching, probing. I spoke to his friends, people he worked with. I delved into his personal life, predicting a Pandora's box but hoping for an empty chest. I had to know why Tommy had forsaken our family, our legacy, for the enemy. As the sun dipped down and the nights grew colder, I found myself becoming a detective in my own familial saga. I became fixated on uncovering the truth beneath Tommy's disloyalty. And let me tell you, when I finally unearthed his motivations, it not just shook the foundations of my perception of him, but also our entire family dynamics. Betrayal, secrets, lies. But trust me, the journey to uncovering the truth was just beginning, and it was going to be a path fraught with emotional upheaval, contentious showdowns, and heartbreaking revelations. But I was ready. I had to be, for the sake of our bloodline, our legacy. The room was dimly lit with the echoes of my investigations hanging in the air, like an unforgiving truth. I could sense my heart pounding, my palms sweating as I stared at the dossier of evidence that had taken weeks of painstaking dedication to compile. The revelation seemed almost too terrifying to absorb. My nephew, the one I'd watched grow into a man, had been covertly working against us, siding with our family's sworn enemy. His betrayal felt like a knife driven deep into my heart, twisting with each piece of evidence I came across. But I could not let my emotions fog my judgment. I had to understand why. I had to know. And as I delved deeper into his life, I uncovered a secret he guarded with a ferocity that was startling. The truth was far more complex than I'd anticipated. Michael, my once innocent and wide-eyed nephew, was being blackmailed by Jasper Durand, our family's archrival. I remembered how the Durands had always been our antithesis, a family that thrived on greed and power, showing no loyalty even among their own. And now they had roped Michael into their wicked schemes. My mind raced back to the letters promising dire consequences if Michael didn't comply. Threatening his secret love, a love that Michael had kept from all of us, a love he wanted to protect at any cost. The mere thought churned my insides. He was living in fear, spiraling deeper into a nightmare from which he could not wake up. So, it was fear that led him down this path of treachery. Fear for the safety of someone he held dear. As much as I wanted to hate him for what he'd done, I found myself plighted by empathy. I could hardly imagine the torment he'd been living in. The terrible choice he'd been forced to make: betray his family or risk the life of his beloved. The gravity of the situation weighed heavily on my heart. Yet, I knew I had to act. But how do you fight an enemy who's got a vice-like grip on your vulnerability? How do you rescue someone when the chains are invisible yet unbreakable? My mind raced with the extremes we could go to rescue Michael from this entrapment. But every plan seemed riddled with fatal flaws. Fear's icy fingers gripped me as I wondered if I was capable of saving him, or if I'd end up causing even more harm. I couldn't bear the thought of losing him to the very darkness I was trying to extricate him from. As the betrayal of my nephew settled within me, so did a new resolve. I would confront this insidious archrival. I might not be able to undo the damage already done, but I wouldn't let it define us. I wouldn't let our family crumble under the weight of deceit and intimidation. I would fight, not just for my nephew's redemption, but also for our family's survival. I only hoped it wasn't too late. My heart pounded in my chest, threatening to explode with anticipation. The moment of truth was finally here. The air hung heavy with tension as we gathered in the old, rustic living room, the shadows flickering eerily from the fireplace's glow. My gaze fell on Alex, my nephew, who sat silently, his face pale and drawn. "You sided with them, Alex," my voice echoed in the ominous silence, the accusation hanging like a guillotine ready to fall. His hazel eyes, usually so full of warmth, flickered with undefinable emotion. He swallowed hard, gripping the arms of his chair. "I had my reasons, Uncle," he said defiantly. A chorus of gasps filled the room. His betrayal stung like a winter chill. I was aware of the shocked expressions on the faces of our family members. We had been betrayed, sold out to our archrival, the merciless O'Donnells. "Alex, they took everything from us," I shouted, my voice a raw edge of emotion. "They ruined our businesses, stained our reputation, and you stood by them." "I did." His voice was surprisingly steady. "I did it to protect us." His words hung in the air, and an alien silence fell. I scanned the disbelieving faces of our family, my heart heavy with betrayal and loss. But beneath it, the flame of hope flickered. A shocking truth was about to unfold. I cleared my throat, my eyes never leaving Alex. "There's a secret that Alex has been keeping." But it's time we all knew the truth. As I revealed the clandestine machinations of Alex, the room was filled with an intoxicating mix of shock and disbelief. Unbeknownst to us, Alex had been working as a double agent against the O'Donnells, strategizing to turn the tables in our favor. Alex explained, showing us how he'd infiltrated their ranks, gained their trust, and subtly sabotaged their operations. He showed us the evidence, the forged documents, the redirected finances that were slowly but surely crippling our archrival. He had risked everything, even our faith in him, to restore our family's name. The room fell into an awestruck silence. Our oppressed nephew, who we thought had betrayed us, had been our unlikely savior all along. Tears welled up in my eyes as I turned to Alex, my hands shaking. You risked it all for us," I whispered, my voice choked with a torrent of emotions. In that moment, the painful betrayal transformed into a beautiful redemption. Our family, once torn apart by suspicion and distrust, was now united like never before, ready to face the world and reclaim what was rightfully ours. And at the center of it all was Alex, the unlikely hero who turned the tide in our favor, restoring harmony amidst the chaos. The shocking twist rekindled our bond, illuminating the dark corners of our family dynamics, and ensuring that nothing would ever be the same again. And for that, we were grateful.